why? Why this story? What is it about this story that resonates so much with people all over the world?
Well, I mean, on a practical level, floods are a real threat.
True.
So maybe these stories come from actual events.
Okay, so like real floods happen.
They were passed down and embellished over time.
Right, so they become these bigger, these grander stories.
Exactly, but I think there's also a symbolic element at play too.
Okay, symbolic, how so?
Floods can represent chaos,
Chaos, okay.
destruction, a need for cleansing.
A fresh start.
A fresh start, right?
So maybe these myths reflect some, I don't know, universal human fear.
Yeah, fear of the unknown.
Of things we can't control.
Forces beyond our control. Exactly.
It's almost like a collective memory of some ancient trauma.
Yeah.
Like a warning passed down through generations.
Like, hey, be careful.
To remind us of nature's power.
Don't mess with Mother Nature.
But then there's always a survivor, right?
Always a survivor.
Someone who carries on.
The torch of humanity.
Yeah, that brings us back to those godlike figures who teach.
They teach.
They leave.
They depart.
And then they promise to come back.
The promise of a return.
This motif is everywhere.
It really is, yeah.
We've got the Anunnaki leaving, but hinting at a comeback.
Right, they'll be back.
And then you've got similar figures in other mythologies.
Like who?
The ancient Egyptians had Osiris,
Osiris.
who dies and comes back to life,
Resurrection.
promising to guide souls in the afterlife.
Guide the dead.
In Hinduism, there's this concept of Kalki,
Kalki, right?
who's supposed to appear at the end of,
The Kali Yuga.
yeah, like a dark age.
The end of times.
It's like humanity has been waiting for this divine sequel for like millennia.
Waiting for the sequel.
But why? Why is this idea of a returning savior, a restoration of a golden age? Why is that so persistent across cultures?
I think it taps into this deep human longing for hope, for something better,
Something better.
for someone to set things right.
To fix things.
It's comforting, you know?
It is comforting.
To believe that even when things are really bad,
Yeah,
there's a chance for redemption.
a chance for a fresh start.
Exactly.
Like a built-in optimism.
Built-in optimism, yeah.
A belief that no matter how bad things get, there's always the possibility of a brighter future.
It's a nice thought.
It is. But while we're waiting for that divine comeback tour,
The comeback tour.
let's face the reality we're dealing with right now.
Okay, what's that?
This Sumerian king list.
Ah, yes.
This timeline that just throws everything we thought we knew about history out the window.
It really does mess with your head.
It really does.
Yeah.
Okay, so break this down for us.
Break it down.
For those of us who aren't, time travelers
Right.
or ancient Sumerian scholars,
Not experts in cuneiform.
what are the main theories about this king list? Like, is it supposed to be taken literally?
Well, there are a few different camps on this.
Okay, what are the camps?
Some people, they take it as a straight up historical document.
Like, word for word, this is what happened?
Yeah, like this is exactly how it went down.
Okay.
They argue that maybe humans have been around a lot longer than we think,
A lot longer?
and that those lifespans, those really long lifespans,
Yeah, the tens of thousands of years?
they were, well, supernaturally long.
Okay, so maybe people really did live that long.
It's possible.
Okay, what else?
Then there's the symbolic interpretation.
Symbolic, okay.
This suggests that maybe those long reigns represent dynasties or eras.
Not literal lifespans.
Exactly.
So maybe it's not about individuals living for thousands of years.
Right.
But about, like, powerful families ruling for really long periods.
Yeah, powerful lineages ruling for generations.
Okay, so that's two camps. What's the third one?
The third camp says it's all mythology.
Pure mythology.
A fictional story
Okay.
meant to convey some deeper truth
About what?
about the nature of kingship
Okay.
or the cyclical nature of time.
Cycles of time, yeah. I can see how all those interpretations make sense.
They all have their own logic.
It's like we're missing some big pieces of the puzzle.
We're missing some pieces.
And until we find them, it's open to interpretation.
It's up for debate.
But while we're on the subject of kings and rulers,
Kings and rulers, yeah.
let's go back to that whole divine right to rule thing.
Ah, yes.
It seems like that really took root after the Anunnaki left.
Like they planted a seed.
Yeah. And it just grew and grew.
It's like that idea of a divinely appointed ruler.
A ruler chosen by God.
It just became imprinted on human consciousness.
Like hardwired into us.
We see it in the pharaohs, claiming to be descended from gods.
Yeah, the Pharaohs.
And then those European monarchs going to all that trouble to preserve their blue bloodlines.
Wait, hold on. What's the deal with blue blood? Is that like a literal thing?
No, not literal.
Okay, so not like Smurf blood.
Uh-huh.
No. Okay, so what is it then?
It's more of a metaphor.
Metaphor, okay.
Blue blood was meant to symbolize the supposed superiority of royal bloodlines.
Okay, superiority, like they were better than everyone else.
Like they were a step above.
Because of their blood.
It implied that their lineage, their bloodline, was somehow closer to the divine.
Closer to God.
Giving them the right to rule over us regular folk.
Us regular red-blooded folks.
Exact.
So basically a way to justify their power and keep everyone else in line.
Pretty much.
Wow, it's amazing how these ancient ideas about power
and lineage,
they persisted for so long.
It really have.
It's like a blueprint for power.
A blueprint
that's been passed down through generations.
To thousands of years.
Influencing everything like politics, religion, social structures.
Shaping how we see the world.
We're still dealing with the legacy of those ancient ideas today.
We are.
But let's shift gears a bit.
Shift gears.
Let's talk about that mind-blowing idea we touched on before.
Adaptation.
About the whole concept of constant divine intervention.
Constant divine intervention.
The excerpts suggested that maybe that's actually limiting.
Limiting, yeah.
Like it holds us back.
It challenges the idea of a God who micromanages our lives.
Yeah, like always stepping in, fixing things.
What if we're supposed to figure things out on our own?
That's a pretty radical shift in perspective.
It is.
So instead of waiting for God to fix all our problems,
right?
Maybe it's about recognizing our own agency.
Our own power.
Our own power, yeah, to shape the world.
That's empowering.
It is, but it's also kind of daunting.
It is a little daunting.
Because it means we're responsible.
We are.
We can't just sit back and wait for a savior to come fix everything.
No more waiting for Superman.
We have to, like, step up, make choices, take action, deal with the consequences.
It's all on us.
It's like we're graduating from cosmic kindergarten.
Cosmic kindergarten.
Yeah, and going to the School of Hard Knocks.
No more safety net.
But hold on. If we're talking about free will... And taking responsibility... Doesn't that contradict the whole idea that we were created as this, like, servant class by the Anunnaki?
That's a great question.
It's like, which is it?
It brings us to one of the biggest dilemmas we face as humans.
What's that?
Reconciling our origins.
Our origins, where we came from.
Yeah, with our potential.
With what we can become.
Exactly.
If we were made to serve, does that mean we're, like, stuck?
Are we limited?
Or can we break free from that?
Can we transcend those origins and create our own destinies?
That's what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
The final part.
Okay, listeners, stay tuned for part 3.
Part 3.
Where we'll tackle this whole question of free will versus predestination.
The big debate.
And ponder what this whole Anunnaki narrative really means.
The ultimate implications.
Get ready for some serious mind-bending.
Mind-bending for sure.
Okay, we're back, and my brain is still spinning from that last part. Like, created to serve, but we also have free will.
It is one of those big, heady questions, isn't it?
It's like a philosophical pretzel.
It really is, and it goes back centuries.
Do we really have free will?
If we were created for a specific purpose.
Like the Sumerian texts say, made by the Anunnaki just to work.
It's a tough one.
It's like being told you're free to do anything you want, but also you have to follow these instructions.
Not a lot of freedom there.
Not really, no.
But I think it's important to remember that the Anunnaki weren't like, these all-loving, all-knowing creators.
Right, they weren't exactly benevolent.
More like cosmic project managers.
Cosmic project managers with their own goals.
Just using us to get the job done.
So maybe instead of taking this creation story literally.
Like it's the absolute truth.
Yeah, maybe it's more like a metaphor.
A metaphor for what?
For all the things that shape our lives. Both inside us and outside of us.
The forces that influence us?
Like our genes.
Our genes.
How we were raised.
How we grow up.
Societal pressure.
All those expectations.
Cultural norms, like all that stuff.
It all plays a role.
It all influences our choices, even if we don't realize it.
Whether we're aware of it or not.
It's like we're born into this system, this pre-existing system
With all these rules
with a set of default settings
that affect how we think.
and how we act.
It's a lot to unpack, for sure.
It is a lot.
But here's the thing.
What's the thing?
Recognizing those influences, understanding how they work.
Okay, understanding the system.
Yeah, that's actually a big step towards real free will.
So it's not about being totally free from all those forces.
No, it's more about
Being aware of them
knowing they're there,
and making choices within that context.
making conscious choices.
So it's less about like rebelling against the system
less about fighting it.
and more about learning to like navigate it.
Navigate, yeah.
Like maybe we can rewrite the code.
Rewrite the code.
Even if we didn't write the original program.
I like that.
That's a much better way to think about it.
More empowering.
More empowering, definitely.
Yeah.
But how do we actually do that? How do we become more aware
More aware, yeah.
and make better choices?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay, tell me more.
And this is where the Anunnaki story can actually help us.
Really? How so?
Remember how the Igigi rebelled against the Anunnaki?
Oh yeah, the Igigi, they weren't having it.
They demanded better conditions.
They refused to just blindly follow orders.
They stood up for themselves.
They were like the OG freedom fighters.
The original rebels.
But what does their rebellion have to do with us figuring out free will today?
It's a powerful reminder
A reminder of what?
that even in seemingly impossible situations,
Even when it feels hopeless.
we have the power to question things,
To question.
to challenge,
Challenge the status quo.
to demand something better.
So it's about seeing the power dynamics at play.
Yeah, seeing who has the power.
Understanding the systems that control our lives,
The systems that try to limit us.
and then finding ways to like take back some of that control.
To exert our own influence.
So instead of seeing the Anunnaki as like our literal creators,
The ones who made us from clay.
yeah, maybe we can see them as a representation of those systems.
The systems of power.
The forces that try to control us
The forces that want to keep us down.
and limit our potential.
Exactly.
And like the Igigi,
We have the power to push back.
we can say, no, they're not going to do that anymore.
It's about realizing
Realizing what?
that we're not just cogs in a machine.
Not just mindless workers.
We can be the engineers.
You can understand how the machine works.
We can change it.
We can reprogram it.
even build a whole new one.
That's a powerful image.
It really is.
It's like upgrading our operating system.
From servitude to self-determination.
But that takes work.
It does, yeah.
It's not just going to magically happen overnight.
It's a process.
A process, okay?
It takes self-awareness,
Knowing yourself,
critical thinking,
asking the tough questions,
and the courage to challenge the status quo.
stand up for what we believe in.
In the Anunnaki narrative
With all its talk of rebellion,
and evolution,
it can inspire us to take those steps.
to start that journey.
It's like a reminder that evolution is like baked into us.
It's in our DNA.
We were made to work.
We were made to work.
But maybe that work isn't just about digging for gold or building ziggurats.
Maybe it's something more.
Maybe it's the work of like self-discovery,
Just discovery, yeah.
of evolving our consciousness,
Just becoming more aware.
of creating a world that reflects our highest potential.
A world that we're proud of.
That's beautifully said.
Yep.
It's like those ancient Sumerian tablets are sending us a message through time
A message from the past.
that says, hey, you might have been created to serve.
But you have the power to choose something different.
You have the power to evolve.
You have the power to create.
That's a powerful message.
And that's a message worth spreading, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. So to everyone listening out there,
To all our listeners,
here's your takeaway from this deep dive.
the main point,
Don't let the stories of the past define your future.
don't let them limit you.
Question everything.
Challenge the systems.
Remember, you have the power to create your own reality.
You have the power.
And who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe in doing that,
Maybe in creating our own reality.
we'll fulfill a purpose even the Anunnaki couldn't have imagined.
That's an interesting thought.
Thanks for joining us on this journey. It's been amazing exploring these ideas with you.
It really has.
Until next time, keep those brain gears turning, keep questioning, keep evolving, and remember, the future is in your hands.
Your future is yours to create.